Hello, it's good to see you. This is the first video in a series of I don't know how many where we are going to read my book, Holiday. This is a section of it. This is not all of it. So I'm going to be reading this to you, and I'm going to take the audio, and eventually I'm going to take all the audio of me reading this book, and I'm going to put it into a format where you can just listen to it as an audiobook. So that will be coming later after we read everything. First, I have to share my dedication, a quote from Aiden, and a quote from Edgar Allan Poe. Now we're going to start reading Holiday. Chapter 1. He lifted his head and opened his eyes at the sound of keys rattling, the thunk of her deadbolt. The room seemed a lot darker than it was just 30 minutes ago. An empty beer can sat in the space just beyond his crossed legs. He reached for it, shook it, then threw it across the room. Musical laughter bled through the wall from her apartment, then the sound of Lady Gaga's rhythmic thumping. He knew she was just home to change and freshen up before going out again. "There's no time," he said aloud to no one, then instantly wondered what he meant. Another thought had been on the heels of it, but it got lost somewhere along the way. He laid his gun on the ottoman and went to the refrigerator. Opening the door brought a whoosh of cold air and blinding light that made him wince a little. "Light beer," he grunted. "Dumbass." He took one out, popped the top, and chugged half of it before closing the refrigerator door. "Let her leave first," he thought. "Don't embarrass yourself that way." This made him chuckle as he flopped down on the couch. "Like it'd matter," he said to himself. "I've lived here for 3 years and she can't even remember my name." She almost ran into him coming out of the laundry room a month earlier. He dropped his bottle of Tide, which bounced awkwardly and landed under the bushes along the walkway outside. "'Scuse me, Jimmy," she said, almost looking through him as she headed out toward the parking lot with a cloth bag over her shoulder. The music stopped, snapping him back from the memory. He knew this routine pretty well by now. In a minute, he'd hear her hairdryer start up for a few seconds, then the sound of high heels clicking toward her front door. He looked at the clock. It was almost 11. "No telling who it'll be tonight," he said. A horn honked in the parking lot. The hairdryer stopped, and he heard her move toward the door. "Let's go, Amber," a giggly young woman yelled from outside. "We got liquor." He didn't have to go to the window to see who it was. There would be a blue Mustang convertible sitting out there with at least 2 Hooters quality girls sitting in it, all primped and preened and ready for a night at whatever place it was Amber always seemed anxious to get to. A minute later, Amber and the girls were gone. The building was dark and silent again. The only light in his apartment came from the anemic green glow of the clock on the microwave and from the part in the curtains where a street light would shine in, faded in silver, angled like a knife, sliding across the couch and over the barrel of his pistol. He finished his beer quickly, and he picked up the gun. It felt cold and heavy in his hand, and it made him think of an icicle. He set his beer can down. There was no note. He made no phone calls. No one would come. He gripped the gun with both hands, pointed it up, and then jammed it under his chin. "Jerry, stop!" The front door swung open, and in his surprise, he threw the gun to the floor. A woman in a long white dress rushed into the room, ran over to him, and knelt down in front of him. She moved the gun aside with one hand and grasped his hands with the other. "You can't do this," she said, out of breath. Jerry pulled back, wide-eyed. How'd you know about this? Where'd you come from?" He blinked and shook his head. How'd you even get in here? I locked that door. Don't worry about all that right now, she said. Are you okay? What the hell do you think? You come in here and you see me. What do you think? Okay, I'm sorry. That was a really stupid question. You're right. I'm so glad I got here when I did. Thank God. I'm not getting this, Jerry said. Am I dead? Is this what happens when you die? Do you think dead people can feel pain? The woman asked. I wouldn't think so, no. She pulled her hand back and slapped him hard across the left cheek. Jesus! He clutched his face. Did you feel that? Hell yes, I felt that. Well, there you go. I'd say you're not dead. Bitch. She stood up holding the gun. Watch your language. Give me back my gun. I don't think so. She stuck it inside her white canvas messenger bag. You were just about to blow off your own head with it. And since suicide's illegal here in the great state of North Carolina, I'm just keeping you from breaking the law. Call it my civic duty. You want another beer? Jerry got up off the couch and turned on a lamp near the TV. He moved closer to her and studied her face. I don't know you. I think you need a drink, she said. She went into the kitchen and brought out a cool, frosty bottle. He took it and twisted off the cap. Mike's Hard Lemonade. They're definitely refreshing, or so I hear. I'm not much of a drinker myself. He was still staring at her. Who are you? It's not important right now. All that matters is that we sort this out. Trust me, you are about to make a terrible mistake. He sat down and snorted. I have no reason not to. He didn't finish the thought. Somebody walked past the open door. Would you mind closing that? He said. She turned and looked at the door, and it slowly shut and the lock turned. Jerry's mouth dropped open. He gripped the bottle in his hand tightly. I didn't have any Mike's Hard Lemonade here, he said, his voice rising. I may not know much right now, but I do know that. He looked up at her again. Tell me who you are. She sat down beside him. Jerry, when somebody takes the time to come all the way down here to help you, you thank them. You don't get all crazy and suspicious. You just take what they've come to offer and be grateful. The only way, I will tell you this much, she said. I lost my uncle to suicide 13 years ago. Like you, he didn't tell anybody what he was going to do. He gave no indication that anything was wrong. Nothing. It's just one day he was alive and the next day he wasn't. He left me and my grandma and grandpa behind to spend the rest of our lives wondering what happened to make him think that there was no other way out. I cried a lot. And so did my grandparents. Then I spent a long, long time just being flat out mad at him for what he did. If I can prevent that from happening to somebody else, I'm going to do it. This is something I never got a chance to ask my uncle, so Jerry, I'm going to ask you, why? She wiped her eyes. Why would you do this? Jerry took a drink and he looked down at his feet. It's not something I really planned out. I just decided it was time. Bullshit, she said. I know there's a waiting period to get a gun in this state. I don't know if it's 3 days or a week or what, but you didn't just come up with this idea on a whim like you were driving home from work and thought, hey, I'll drop by the gun shop and get something to splatter my brains all over the wall with tonight. You're not the type to just have a gun lying around. No, you did plan this, and you weren't going to explain it to anybody. You were just going to leave a big nasty mess for somebody else to clean up, and that'd be the end of that. So I'd say you're full of shit, Jerry Makavoy. They need a pooper scooper to clean up what you left behind because that's pure tea bullshit. She grabbed the bottle out of his hand and took a long drink. So what? It's really none of your business to take your voodoo someplace else. Whoever or whatever you are, give me my gun back and take your creepy ass elsewhere. He snatched the bottle out of his hand. And in case you didn't know, Mike's Hard Lemonades are for sissies. Oh, you prefer something else? Anything's better than this crap. Some bourbon, maybe. Now you're talking. She gestured to the bottle. Is that better? He looked at the Jim Beam bottle in his hand. Holy shit! He nearly dropped it. Be careful, she said. It's open. You almost spilled it. Okay, the drink, the door shutting. God almighty, you're like a ghost or something. Like that guy in It's a Wonderful Life. Clarence was an angel, she said. An angel, yeah. Jerry took a sip from the bottle. Is that what you are? You're my guardian angel here to earn your wings or something? She laughed. No, Jerry, I'm only here to help you out a little. You can bring me drinks and hang out all you want to, Miss Angel Person, but you can't change the fact that tomorrow morning I'll still have the same shitty life, the same shitty set of circumstances that I had when you came busting through my door. What are you going to do? Come stand guard here every night? Put me on a suicide watch? I don't believe that'll be necessary. No? Well, you must not know much about my life then. I may not know everything about it, but I know a thing or two about your future. That's why I'm not too worried, Jerry. I know a thing or two about my future, too, he said. I know I was supposed to be at work at 8:30 tomorrow morning, and that check engine light's on in my car, which means it probably needs something expensive to be done to it. And I know I'll still be fat and out of shape, and I'll sell people more stuff who have forgotten my name before they even make it out of the store. That's my life in a nutshell. The end. Praise the Lord and give me my damn gun back. She placed her hand gently on his shoulder. I'm not going to sit here and rattle off a bunch of cliches or read scripture verses to you. I'm not even going to try to convince you not to kill yourself. I'm glad to hear that. All I'm going to do is ask you to give it just one more day. 24 hours. If nothing's better by then, blow your head off. You'll just be one day older when you do it. Can you promise me you'll wait one more day? You don't understand, he said. All my days are exactly the same. I've been doing the same crap every day for 3 years and nothing ever changes. Nothing ever gets better. I just get older and fatter and more. Jerry, one more day will not kill you. Ha, he said. No pun intended, right? I promise if you give me just one more day, you will see what I mean. Okay, but if nothing worthwhile happens by midnight tomorrow night, I'm a pumpkin. She pulled the gun out of her bag and held it up. A jack-o'-lantern. That's you, Jerry. Full of holes, hollow, with a crap-ass candle inside. He set the bottle on the coffee table and rubbed his face. God, I'm so sleepy all of a sudden. She put the gun back in her bag and stood up. Let me help you get into bed. You've had more to drink than you realize. What, me? I'm fine. I'm just really sleepy, that's all. He tried to stand up but fell back down on the couch. See, she said, learn to trust me and listen to what I say, Jerry. You'll be a whole lot better off if you do. She helped him up, and he leaned heavily against her as the two made their way down the hall to the bedroom. Are you going to stay all night? He asked her. No, I have something I have to take care of elsewhere, but you'll see me again before tomorrow night. She helped him lie down in the bed, and he pulled the covers up over him. His eyelids fluttered, and he mumbled something that she couldn't understand. Don't forget, she said. One more day, Jerry. Give it one more day. He grabbed her hand and forced his eyes to stay open. Who are you? He asked. She ran her hands over his eyelids and closed them. I'm Liddy Roberts, she whispered. I'll see you in your dreams. And the next thing you're going to see is a flyer from the Winston-Salem Air Show. This is the beginning of Chapter 2. Chapter 2. If you're planning on going to the air show in Winston-Salem, get there early. Don't wait until they actually start letting people in. You'll have to drive way yonder past the airport and park in some abandoned factory's parking lot, then either hike 2 miles along the side of the road or wait for the shuttle bus where you'll be jammed into a seat next to some big sweaty fat guy who talks too much and whose oversized camera will bang into you every time the bus hits a bump. Don't do this to yourself. Plan accordingly. I hadn't even thought about going to the air show till about 8 o'clock that morning when I saw a TV commercial for it. They said they were going to have these jet-powered trucks there, and something about that spoke to me. Maybe I was hoping some big booms and smoke would snap me out of the horrible writer's block I'd been mired in for the past 2 weeks. The shuttle bus stopped about 50 yards away from the main entrance to the airport, and we all slowly filed off the bus. I paid for my ticket, clutched my clipboard, and ventured inside. I hadn't been to an air show since I was a kid, and I didn't really remember what I could expect. It was hot, steamy, and crowded. I had no way to know when they'd bring the big jet-powered truck out, and since I didn't want to risk missing it, I made my way through the crowd up to the runway for a better view. Some F-14s flew over low and fast. The V formation broke apart just above me, and the planes fanned out and rocketed off to some ball game going on at the LJVM. I thought I saw the truck coming out about 20 minutes later, but it turned out to be just one of the airport's fire trucks. One of those big frosted lemonades sounded good, and I was about to head down to the concession stand to get one when the announcer came over the loudspeaker. "Here they are, folks, the Geico Skytypers." 4 gray planes taxied slowly out onto the runway, and I couldn't move. I was riveted in one spot there as I watched them roll past. Then suddenly their engines blasted, and the planes quickly accelerated down the runway. They swooped, they rolled, they looped, and it was awesome. I couldn't imagine what it must be like up there, dancing in the sky while the huddled masses on the ground looked on in awe, small as ants in the pilot's eyes. I wished I'd brought a camera. The thought of being up there in one of those planes stayed with me. Freedom, speed, no limits. I scribbled some notes down on my clipboard. The Skytypers landed, and I was about to go get my horrifically overpriced lemonade when a red biplane made its way out onto the runway in front of the crowd. "Here he is," the announcer said. The speaker crackled. "He's new to the Winston-Salem Air Show this year, so let's give him a big round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, the Whirling Dervish." The crowd went wild. "The Whirling what?" I said to no one. The plane stopped. A man dressed just like Snoopy's World War I flying ace stood up and waved. Then, in a moment that was too bizarre to be real, he stopped waving and he pointed directly at me. I looked around and then back at him. He was looking right at me and smiling. "Ma'am, I believe he wants you," some guy next to me said. "Me? What for? I'm just standing here." I suddenly felt very defensive. "What did I do?" The pilot stepped down out of the plane, his white silk scarf fluttering in the breeze. "The Whirling Dervish, everybody," the announcer said as the guy left his plane and walked towards me. "Stop," I said. Why hadn't I just gone to get the damn lemonade? The pilot stooped and he stepped under the rope separating the crowd from the runway. He never took his eyes off me. The few people in front of me moved aside and let him pass. He didn't stop until he and I were face to face. "You want to take a ride?" he said. I tried to look at his face to get some idea why this man singled me out. There were easily 1,000 people there. Why me? Why me? I kept thinking, desperate for an answer. "I can't see you," I heard myself say. His leather hat and big goggles frightened me a bit. "You don't have to see me," he said, and he took the clipboard out of my hand. "All I want you to do is come fly with me." I wanted to crawl in a hole. "What's going on over there?" the announcer said. "You gonna kiss her?" The pilot grinned. "What do you say?" he asked me. "I don't need a kiss, thank you." "No, I mean, are you up for it?" He gestured to his plane. "I don't..." He grabbed my clipboard. He handed my clipboard to the guy next to me. "Will you hang on to this for a bit?" he asked. The guy nodded vigorously. "Go on," he said. "I'd surely do it if I had the chance." The pilot took my hand and caressed it, and I suddenly felt faint. "Take your goggles off," I said. "I don't think I need to." Jesus. He reached up and he unfastened his goggles, and there he was. "Not exactly Jesus," he said, "but I hope..." "Aiden!" I jumped up and threw my arms around him, and the crowd went crazy. He grabbed me and held me tight. "What have we got going on over there?" the announcer said. "Don't make me come throw a bucket of cold water on you two." I let go and laughed. "God, Aiden, you freaked me out. What on earth are you doing here?" We can discuss that later. I believe I asked you a question. Oh, no. Were you serious about that? He pulled a microphone out of his jacket pocket. Hello, Winston-Salem, he shouted. It's so wonderful to be here today. The crowd cheered. Now, I have just invited this lovely young lady to take a little ride with me, but I think I need some help convincing her. She's a bit unsure about the whole thing. So what do you say we give her some encouragement? The roar was deafening. Everybody seemed to be in agreement that, yes, I should get in that plane. A gang of young children stood nearby, almost drooling at the thought of it. Get on the plane! Get on the plane! They chanted. See, Aiden said. They'd give their right arms to be able to do this. How can you possibly turn down such an opportunity? I don't honestly think I'd... Aiden held up the microphone to his lips and said in a deep, ominous voice, Okay, Liddy, let's hear it. He shoved the microphone in my face and gave me a little wink. I closed my eyes tight. Okay, I said, and the crowd cheered. We made our way over to the plane. I don't have a scarf or goggles or a goofy leather hat, I said. Aiden pulled all three of those things out of his jacket pocket and handed them to me. My hands shook as I put everything on. You got a Xanax in there too? He handed the microphone to one of the staff members nearby. What do you need a Xanax for? He said. If you'd think about it, you'd realize you're safer up there in this plane with me than you'd ever be on the ground. He adjusted my goggles and playfully patted my cheek. Let's give them a good show. The next thing I knew, Aiden was helping me into the back seat. What kind of plane is this? I asked. There was no top. We'd be out in the open, totally exposed. I had visions of smoke and crashing and twisted metal. Me without a head. It's a Hats biplane, Aiden said. And he pulled some straps down over my shoulders. He buckled me in and cinched the straps down so tightly I thought I was going to fold in half. Is this necessary? I asked, fidgeting with my scarf. He just smiled, put his goggles back on, and got in the front seat. I couldn't see what he was doing up there. The crowd watched and waited. I heard and felt the engine start up. The propeller began to turn, and we started moving down the runway slowly at first and then faster and faster. I tried to sit up, but the straps had me anchored in my seat. It bothered me that I couldn't really see anything. Are you ready? Aiden yelled back. Yeah, I said, ready to puke. You haven't had a really heavy meal lately, have you? No, I said, why? He laughed. I'm kidding, you'll be fine. I felt the plane suddenly increase its speed. The end of the runway was down there somewhere, and beyond that, well, I just hoped it wouldn't matter what was beyond that. The wind beat against my face. I had no idea how fast we were going, but I could hear the engine winding up. I started to reach up toward Aiden when the plane left the ground in a sickening swoop, and we were airborne. I felt like we were going sideways. Aiden shouted, "Yeehaw!" The plane straightened out. I didn't dare look down. In fact, I didn't dare look anywhere except at the metal wall between Aiden's seat and mine. How much do you know about aerobatics? He asked. About what? What? Nothing. So you don't want to try any wing walking while we're up here? God, no! He laughed again. Sick bastard's really enjoying this, I thought. Let's start with something simple, he said. How about a loop-de-loop? How about we just land and be done for the day? I ventured a quick peek over the side. What was it I was saying about wanting to see things from this perspective? Be careful what you wish for. We flew over the crowd, heading west. Are you fastened in? Aiden asked. Good Lord. I checked my straps. Everything was buckled tightly. I'm afraid I am. Here we go. The plane arched up into the sky, and I felt the gravitational pull of our ascent. Just about the time I got used to that, the whole world turned upside down and stood on its head. In the shock of the moment, I looked up. Beyond the wings, I could see the ground, the runway, the people, the lemonade stand. We came out of the loop and were flying straight again, and I realized I'd been holding my breath the entire time. Don't forget to breathe, Aiden said. You could pass out otherwise. I scowled at the back of his brown leather head. Thanks, I'll keep that in mind. Let's try it again, he said. How about we... Up we went again. I took a breath but didn't look around this time. See? Wasn't that better, he said. I have to say you're handling it really well. I can handle the loops, but I don't like it when we're hanging upside down. Are we done? Now, Liddy, these people came to see a show. We can't stop now. We gained some altitude and circled around the airport again. You'll love this, he said. Breathe! The plane flipped upside down and we went into another loop and then straight, and before I could think or speak or scream, we rolled over and over, flying fast and hard and straight. It was like a roller coaster without a track. I think we rolled about 8 times before he righted us again. He held his hands up in the air. Woohoo! Don't do that, I shrieked. Here's another one for you. I put my hands over the goggles and felt the plane turn upwards and then fly straight up for what seemed like an eternity. And then in a moment I will never forget, I heard the engine stop. I looked up just as the propeller stopped turning. Breathe, Liddy, Aiden said, and the plane began falling back down to earth. I let out a scream at the thought of what would happen next. We're so high, we're so high. The motor started again, and the propeller began turning, but the plane flipped a full 180 degrees so the nose was pointed straight down. I had all but accepted my fate when the engines took over and pulled us back up level, and we were going straight again. If I could have reached Aiden, I would have smacked him upside the head. That's called a tail slide, he said. What'd you think? I think you need to land to get me out of this damn thing. You're not looking at this experience the right way. You still take everything too seriously. Just relax and enjoy yourself. How can I possibly do that? I asked him. You could try keeping in mind that I'd never let anything bad happen to you. Also remember that I can do whatever I like down here on Earth. I could let this plane burst into flames and we both land without being harmed in the slightest. God, just don't let me die. He laughed. Hold your arms up, Liddy. You already think it's like a roller coaster. Ride it like one. We climbed straight up. Just try it, he said. The engine shut off again. It took everything I had in me, but I forced my arms up into the air as I felt the plane start to fall and then the sickening flip that faced us downward. I screamed and felt my voice crack deep in my chest. The engines and propeller came back to life and I felt the wind on my face. I saw the sun glinting off the bottom wing. It was the most exciting day of my life. I stuck my arms up as high as the straps would let me go. Yee-haw! I shouted as we zoomed through the air. We went up again and then shot straight down in a tailspin that I thought would launch my innards up to the roof of my mouth. I rode that twirling free fall like it was the last few seconds I'd ever have, and for all I knew they would be. Not really. Why would Aiden come to me after all these years just to slam me into the ground? I trusted him with the only thing that matters, my life. We did several fancy loops that I don't know the names of, and once we flew low over the crowd upside down. They really got a kick out of that. We were low enough for me to see individual people's faces. I wanted to stay up there forever, just him and me. Every stupid, nagging problem I had couldn't reach me up there as we swooped and rolled and flirted with the clouds. As we descended and approached the runway, Aiden turned back toward me. Are you okay? He asked. I didn't throw up, I told him, so yeah. I hid a smile. We rolled slowly past the cheering crowds. I think they enjoyed it, Aiden said. We really should do this again sometime. Maybe a little more warning first, though, I said. Warning? No, you'd chicken out. Do you honestly think you'd have come here if you knew beforehand that you'd be up there in one of those planes? Oh, you think you know me so well. Aiden steered the plane down off the runway and parked it. He helped me out. I think I know you well enough, he said, kissing my hand. We stood there beside the plane for a minute, just looking at each other. I grabbed him and held on tight. God, I've missed you. I felt his arms embrace me. His cheek was warm against mine. I've missed you too, Liddy. It's been far too long. We left the plane to go find the guy who had my clipboard. "I bet that was a wild ride, huh?" he said to me. I glanced at Aiden. "You have no idea." Chapter 3. We took my car back to Greensboro. I couldn't wait to find out what was really going on. There was no way he ran into me at that air show accidentally. When it comes to Aiden, nothing's ever an accident. "What in the world are you doing here?" I asked as we pulled out of the parking lot and onto the highway. I have a new assignment," he said as he rifled through my glove compartment. "What made you finally give up the Volkswagen bus?" "It died a long time ago. Buying something more dependable just made sense. It was a dinosaur even back when we first met, so I broke down and sold it and got this Sentra." "Do you miss it?" "I don't miss having to get a rental car every other week because it was in the shop, but yeah, sometimes I do. This car's great and all, but it doesn't have the personality that the bus had." "What are you looking for in there?" He shut the glove compartment and looked at me. "Nothing. I'm just nosy." "So you have a new assignment, huh?" "I do." "And what a coincidence that it's here." "It is here, isn't it?" "It's in Greensboro." "What happened to your guy in California?" Well, he's gone now." "Do I dare ask anything else about him?" "It's okay, really. People in his situation tend to be vague when they tell me what they want. All he wanted was to be famous, so I made him famous." "Famous how?" "Do you ever watch pornographic movies?" "Oh, Aiden, you didn't." He flashed an evil grin. "You made him a porn star?" "Seriously? He wanted to be big in movies." No pun intended. "Of course not." "Jeez. So how'd he die?" "When his time was up, he simply went to sleep in his big round bed and he never woke up. He didn't give me too much trouble, so I went easy on him." I merged into the I-40 traffic heading east toward Greensboro. "What's your next move?" I asked him. "Who's your new conquest?" Aiden sighed and he laid his head back against the headrest. "His name's Jerry Makavoy," he said. "White male, 25 years old, life going absolutely nowhere, on the verge of suicide." Wow, well, I can believe that. A lot of people feel pretty lost and helpless these days. "Have you spoken to him yet?" "Yes and no. I have some little details to sort out, and honestly, I'm not sure at this point exactly how everything's going to play out." He rested his hand on my leg. "It depends on who's with me." "Oh, no. I hung around with you up in Dalton Fisher because I didn't know any better. I was under the impression that you were, well, one of the good guys. There is no way I could do it now." He leaned forward. "Why not? Jerry will know who I am, what I am, and what I'm offering him, just like Charles did. I'm not asking you to sell him on the idea. I'd just like you to come along for the ride if he takes me up on it." "Come along for the..." "You're crazy. Maybe I could somehow rationalize everything I did to help you with Charles because I didn't know what you really were. But I'm pretty sure I'd be handed a one-way ticket straight to hell for this." I saw an exit up ahead. "I'm pulling over." We stopped in a McDonald's parking lot where I got out and lit a cigarette. Aiden got out and leaned up against the car right beside me. "Liddy, look at me. Look at me. I promised that you'd be okay. Nobody's going to cart you off to hell for this. I promised I would keep you safe. Nothing bad will happen to you because I won't allow it." I looked away, choosing to stare intently at an empty cup teetering on the edge of a storm drain. My eyes were hot with tears for some reason. 13 years, I said, still not looking at him. "How come you never came back? All this time, you never even came by to say hello. Not even once." "You never saw me," he said. "That doesn't mean I never saw you." I looked up. "When did you see me?" "You looked right at me in front of the Marriott downtown 2 days ago. I said you had a lovely blouse on. Remember?" In my mind, I saw the rumpled old homeless lady. I remembered she was wearing several layers of clothes and smelled like overripe fruit. "That was you?" His eyes sparkled. "You dismissed me. 'I've got to get to Troy,' you said, and you rushed off. You should take a little more time with people once in a while. I believe if you'd actually stopped and looked me in the eye, you would have known who I really was." You have to understand, there are always these crazy looking people hanging around down there begging for money for some non existent bus ticket or food or something. After several years of dealing with those people every day, and they always hit you up if they see you smoking, you just start running away from them. I always tell them I have to get to Troy because it short circuits their little speech. They aren't expecting it, so they have to stop and think of an answer, and I am long gone before they do. It still kind of hurt that you didn't recognize me. Not then and not all the other times, simply because you're always running away. There were other times? When? Let's see. Several times on the street, once in Goodwill, twice at your front door. I figured you'd have a little more respect for the cable guy. Turns out I was wrong. I took a long drag off my cigarette. Maybe you shouldn't have come up and asked me for something. That's where you messed up. Let's just get back to Greensboro, he said. I bet you're hungry by now. A little, but what are we doing here, Aiden? I flicked my cigarette out and put the butt in my pocket. What do you mean? He asked, opening my door. I mean, what is this? I don't see you for ages, and now we're spending the afternoon together? Just like that? It would appear so. No. Hey, Liddy, do you have any plans later today? No, nothing. You just mosey right into my weekend. I just gave you the ride of your life, he said, walking around to the other side of the car. The least you could do is split a pizza with me. Okay, I had no valid argument. I just shut my mouth, got back in the car, and got us back on the interstate. I watched my speed carefully for the first mile or so, choosing to focus on that instead of conversation. Aiden was quiet, but I could feel him looking at me. I wasn't sure what to say to him. He finally broke the silence. So, what have you been up to lately? Living the dream, I said. I write text for greeting cards and customer information literature for an insecticide company. That's where most of my money comes from. They wanted somebody who could translate technical crap into something a real person could read, so that's what I do. I also write articles for an e-magazine called True Vegan Living. Isn't that sort of hypocritical to do both? He asked. I chuckled. Probably, yeah. You're the first person who's ever asked me that. But you're not a person, so I guess nobody still has. I've read some of your blog entries, too. I looked over at him. Really? How'd you know about that? Actually, never mind. It's spooky the way you come to know about things. The Daily Howl was a blog I'd started 5 years earlier. It's a blog about being a loner, which was something I finally learned to embrace about myself after about a quarter century of life on this planet. Lone women seem to make people nervous. Air shows are different, I guess, since everybody spends most of their time looking up and don't notice much about the people around them. But try eating in a restaurant by yourself sometime and see how many strange and pitying looks you get. I understand it, though. Human beings in general are social creatures. We tend to do stuff with others. Eating is a highly social activity for humans. I think that stems from our carnivore heritage, just like our desire for privacy when we go to the bathroom. It's our version of going off in the corner of our territory to poop. About 20% of people are loners, or they'd like to be, at least to some extent. I'm a loner. It's not that I hate people. Well, not all people, just most of them, most of the time. I came home one night from a Christmas party and was amazed at how exhausted I was, how relieved I was to be away from the crowd and back in my own personal hidey hole, my sanctum sanctorum, my lovely little yellow 2-story house of peaceful repose. I live alone. I never had a roommate that I didn't want to hack into tiny bits after the first week, so I finally just said hell with it, bit the bullet, and bought a damn house all by myself. But it was my reaction to that Christmas party that inspired me to start the Daily Howl. It's a blog for all the lone wolves out there to let them know that they're not alone. Yeah, I know. I've gleaned a lot of corny puns off the irony of that. People must Google spooky stuff around Halloween because it's that time of year that my blog gets the most hits. A lot of my regular readers first learned about me while doing those Halloween searches for stuff. It's not like we have an underground community where word can really spread any other way. I mean, we're loners, for God's sake. Thank goodness for the internet. It's hard to put food on the table from just blogging, though. That's just a fun hobby, really. Gives me something to bat about in my mind as I go through my day. My real bread and butter, at least these days, comes from creating the guts of greeting cards, consumer information pamphlets, and writing articles for the monthly vegan e-magazine. But then there are days you just sit and stare at a blank page for hours and nothing comes out for any of those people. I end up rewriting lyrics to songs I hate, or shooting wadded up paper into the recycle bin, or giving up and watching Frasier DVDs until I fall asleep on the couch. You remind me of someone, Aiden said. Really? Who? My new client. He's a loner too, but not by choice. I have a feeling you two would get along. I groaned. Don't make me talk to him. Why not? Like you said in the Daily Howl just last week. How did it go? I realize that in order to live in this world, I occasionally have to be an active member in it. Dive headfirst into the human soup tureen of social interaction, whether I like it or not. You realize that it's a skill you can lose if you don't practice it occasionally. And I do, Aiden. I despise it, but I do. When? Conventions? Trade shows? The insecticide folks send me to stuff sometimes, yeah, and so does True Vegan Living. I have my own crunchy, tree-hugging get-up just for their get-togethers. Then you go get a burger afterwards? Well, hell yeah, just in another part of town. I hardly think those qualify as healthy, normal social outings, Liddy. There are blogger conventions, too. When's the last time you had an actual friend? A friend? Like how? I've got like 380 of them on Facebook. Aiden sighed. Come on now. Those don't count and you know it. All they know about you is that you can type and you have internet access. I cleared my throat. What's your point? My point is that hanging out with me for a while could do you some good. Won't you at least consider it? I have no idea what happens to us when we die, I said. But this sort of thing, helping you convince some guy to sell his soul to the devil, probably would not help me in the afterlife, if there even is such a thing. I just get the feeling that it'd be a really stupid thing to do. I like you, and I've thought a lot about you over the years, but Aiden, I'd really rather not. You wouldn't have to convince him of anything, Aiden said. I will handle all that. It's my job, after all. You'd truly just be along for the ride, and let me tell you, if he goes for it, the ride should be pretty interesting. You don't, I started to say. Nothing bad will happen to you because of it, Liddy. Honest. Not now, and not after you die. If I could guide you through the crazy labyrinth of Charles's world without repercussions, this is a sure thing. This man's tastes are much more tame by comparison. We reached the Greensboro city limits. Where are we going? I asked him. Well, for starters, I have to give him my sales pitch. If I'm successful, then there will be lots of money, lots of parties, lots of... No, I mean, where are we having lunch? I need to know which exit to take. Aiden laughed and touched my hand. Keep going. I'll tell you when to turn. Chapter 4. We pulled into a space right in front of the corner slice on Fisher Street in Greensboro. It's crazy, I said. I drive by here all the time, but I've never eaten here. See, Aiden said, I told you that you should slow down and enjoy life more. I'm glad I could help you do that. We sat down at a table near the front door and looked over the menu. Aiden glanced out the window. Something odd is about to happen, he said, but just go with it. I looked up. Huh? You're about to be recognized by someone you don't know yet. Here he comes. Why would he... Aiden shushed me. Shh, just play along. This chubby guy wearing a Best Buy polo shirt came in, looked around, and started shrieking when he saw me. He rushed over in such a blustery way that I reflexively stood up and took a step back. He was inches away from my face. You, he barked. I've been waiting all day for something to happen. Maybe if we all sat down, Aiden said. We could discuss this. He looked at Aiden for the first time. Who is this woman? Who the hell are you? Aiden stood up and extended his hand. Aiden Gervais, at your service. Is that right? The man grabbed an empty chair from the table next to ours and sat down. Aiden motioned for me to sit, and he moved slowly back down into his own chair. There's no need to be alarmed, he said gently. Lydia and I only want to help you. I cleared my throat and gave Aiden a wide-eyed look, but he ignored me. I'm glad you decided to come here, Aiden said. I really wish I knew the guy's name. Being in weird situations with Aiden where I didn't have a clue what was going on was nothing new, but at least I was familiar with everybody's name. Jerry, Aiden said, quickly glancing at me. I know it's been a long day for you. Waiting is never easy, and I apologize for that. I haven't seen one damn thing. The server came to get our drink orders and interrupted Jerry. By the time she left, it looked like some of the wind was gone from his sail. I slept like the dead last night, he said. Aiden nodded. Quite a coincidence, huh? Jerry looked up at him. What do you mean? After the night you had, how things could have turned out for you? It's just interesting. Jerry started to stand up, but Aiden reached across the table and grabbed his arm. Please don't go. I don't even know what made me come here in the first place. I've never been here before in my life. Never wanted to come here. But after spending all day at work, and it was a weird damn day, let me tell you, something told me I needed to be here. It was like the voice of God or something telling me where to go. I've never been here before either, I said, feeling left out. This used to be a convenience store. You remember that? And that poor guy got shot during an armed robbery. That was awful. Jerry pulled his cell phone out of his pocket and fiddled with it. I didn't even cancel my cell phone service, he muttered. And you thought it was some carefully constructed plan to... You acted like you had all the answers last night, so tell me, what is the point in all this? You asked me to give you 24 hours. Your time's running out and I ain't seen shit so far. I assumed he was talking to Aiden, so I didn't answer. Jerry slammed his phone down on the table and glared at me. Give me an answer, he snarled. I jumped. Ugh! What? He leaned across the table and grabbed my shirt. Tell me what your brilliant plan is right now, or I swear to God I will walk out to the car and blow my head off. The restaurant was fairly crowded, but nobody even looked in our direction. Aiden gently pushed Jerry back down in his seat. You won't do any such thing, he said firmly, and you won't touch her or speak to her that way ever again. Do you understand? Jerry sat back and brushed his sleeves in a frustrated, jerky motion. What are you going to do about it? You have no idea what this bitch did to me last night. Now hang on a minute, I said. I didn't... Aiden stopped me. I know exactly what she did, Jerry. She saved you from making the most idiotic mistake of your life. You should be thanking her, not flinging angry spittle in her direction. Jerry took a deep breath. Do you know what it takes to get to the point I was at last night? All the problems you have to think through, all the questions. This wasn't some impulsive decision. She was right about that. I thought it through and realized there is nothing in my future worth fighting for. No reason to keep going to sleep and waking up. At least if I had been able to... There might have been something better for me afterwards. Or at least I was at the point where I was willing to take the risk to find out. Aiden wasn't even pretending to look at Jerry. He stared at a neon Budweiser sign on the wall and stroked his chin absent-mindedly. Something better. Like what? I didn't even care anymore. Anything's better than going through life being constantly forgotten, feeling like a piece of furniture. What are your dreams, Jerry? Aiden asked him. If you were to close your eyes and imagine that unknown magical place, your ideal afterlife, what would you see? What makes it different from the world that you live in right now? Jerry closed his eyes for a second and then reopened them. What kind of self-help motivational bullshit is this? I'm serious. I really want to know. What do you see? Just tell me the first thing that comes to your mind. The first thing? Oh, what the hell. A new car. A black Humvee. Not one of the little pansy-ass ones like you see all the time. One of the really big ones like Arnold Schwarzenegger has. I laughed. A Humvee? Really? Jerry gave me a hateful look. Shut up. He asked me to tell him the first thing that came to mind, and that was it. I wasn't even talking to you. No, it's okay, Aiden said. In fact, I think it's wonderful. A Humvee, huh? Oh, yeah, a black one. Beats the hell out of that ragged-out Jetta I've got now. Aiden looked over Jerry's shoulder out in the parking lot. What Jetta? It's parked right, Jerry said as he turned around. Wait, no, I parked... He stood up so fast that he pushed his chair backwards, his arm extended toward the window and his finger pointing at something that knocked the wind out of both him and me. It wasn't... That's a... Jerry couldn't find the words to express what we were both thinking. Aiden smiled. A Humvee? I believe it is. Jerry looked back and forth between Aiden and the parking lot. His mouth hung open. Everyone else in the restaurant went about their business and paid no attention to us at all. Finally, Jerry found his voice again. You put that there, he said to Aiden and me. This is some kind of trick. How'd you... You don't like it? Aiden said. Would you rather have your old car back? My old car was... Jerry turned and looked outside, but to his surprise and mine, the Humvee was gone. In its place was a beat-up old Jetta. I remember the driver's side mirror was held on by a mangled coat hanger. Jerry let out a high-pitched, ah! And covered his mouth. I don't know why, but I started laughing. Nice car, Aiden said. I'm sure it gets better gas mileage. When you can get it started, that is. The Jetta's headlights flashed on and off. Stop it, Jerry said. His hands were trembling. He wiped his mouth. How are you doing this? Have you drugged me or something? Aiden motioned to our seats. Let's order that pizza now. Right on cue, the server came over. We'll have a large pepperoni. Deep dish? I nodded dumbly, and Jerry just glared at him. Deep dish, please, and extra cheese. I sat down slowly and watched Jerry set his chair back upright. He kept his eyes on Aiden as he seated himself. I'm not going any further with this until y'all start giving me some answers, he said. I want to know who you are, why you're here, and why you're screwing with me. He unfolded his napkin in a weird, almost dainty way. Right now. Aiden smiled. We're here to make your wildest dreams come true. It's really that simple. Now wait, I said. I want to let you know this up front. I am just a regular person. I am not like Aiden. There's this... My mind suddenly went blank. I could feel Aiden staring at me, and it felt like somebody sucked every last thought in my head out with a straw. Normally, I can bumble my way through something like that, but not this time. I returned Aiden's hard stare. Who the hell are you two? Jerry demanded. Aiden reached across the table for Jerry's hand, but he jerked it away. It pains me to see you like this, Aiden told him. Your life has been unfair on so many levels. Middle child, poor social skills, no remarkable talents, a tendency toward being overweight. Jerry bristled, but Aiden spoke up quickly. I don't mean to insult you. I'm only stating the truth. I'm also willing to say that most of your disadvantages are no fault of your own. You didn't ask for your life to turn out this way, did you? Who would? Can you make the Humvee come back? Jerry asked. I could tell he wasn't happy with the direction our conversation was taking. Now listen to me a minute, Aiden said. You said you wanted to know who we are and what's going on here. In my own roundabout way, I'm getting there. I'm just letting you know that I get you. I've paid close attention to your life, and I completely understand why you wanted to kill yourself last night. I sputtered half a mouthful of sweet tea onto the table. For some reason, it didn't hit me until then what Jerry had been talking about before. The damn fool had actually planned a suicide? Aiden tossed his napkin over to me without taking his eyes off Jerry. That's why I'm here now. Trust me, if you'd gone through with your plan last night, you'd have regretted it forever. If you'll give me a chance, I think you'll agree that the alternative that I'm going to propose would be much better. The server brought over 2 fresh napkins. I handed her my soggy one with a thank you. Jerry whispered something that I couldn't quite make out. Aiden nodded in reply. The answer to your prayers, he said softly. They didn't fall on deaf ears. He watched as Jerry wiped his eyes. I know that the world can seem like a harsh, hateful place sometimes, but not anymore. Not for you. Not ever again. I was baffled and amazed at the same time. I still had no idea what was really going on here, but I'd forgotten how incredible it was to watch Aiden reach people on a deep emotional level like that. He could calm down the most insanely angry person in a matter of seconds just by speaking to them. He was like the human whisperer or something. So that's why you came to me last night, Jerry said, looking at me. You really did come to save me. I was afraid it was some kind of sick joke. It just didn't make any sense. His eyes widened and he sat up straighter. So are you two? Are you angels? Like come down here in human form? I've heard about that. Angels saving people, like in car wrecks and burning buildings. He shook his head and looked down at the table. That can't be. That's stupid. Why is it stupid? Aiden asked. Because things like that can't really happen. Maybe you're just a magician or I'm having an acid flashback. You've never done acid a day in your life, Aiden said, and no magician alive can turn a Jetta into a Humvee. That guy Chris Angel could, I said. His name is Angel. They both stared at me. I grabbed my glass of tea. It was just funny. Never mind. Liddy's not an angel, Aiden said. She's just a normal person like you or the server or anybody else. Jerry leaned forward. But you're not, are you? No, Aiden said, I'm not. Why me, though? Out of all the people who do that sort of thing every day, you know, what I was planning on doing, why come try to save me? I snorted. Yeah. He glared at me, but I didn't mean it the way he took it. I was just thinking about my Uncle Dean and how unfair it was that nobody out there bothered to do anything like that for him. Who's to say they don't? Aiden asked him. If they commit suicide without witnesses, how do you know whether or not somebody like me tried to stop them? Oh, I know. Actually, no. Jerry paused. But it wasn't you, Aiden. Aiden held up his hand. All you have to do is go out there and push the button. No keys needed. You know that GPS you always wanted? Why don't you go check it out? Jerry and I looked out into the parking lot. The Humvee had returned. He stood up slowly and walked outside without another word. Aiden watched him, a big smile spreading across his face. I don't know why he wants a GPS so much. He never goes anywhere where it'd be useful. What was he about to say? I asked. And why does he keep talking about last... Aiden offered me a lemon wedge. You're probably not going to want to hear this, but Jerry thinks that you were the one who stopped him from killing himself last night. And why in the world would he think that? Well, it could be that He winced. You what? I sort of went there looking like you. You did what? I stopped him. I just happened to look like you when I did it. You ass! Why would you do a stupid thing like that? Let's focus on the positive here. The man was seconds away from blowing his brains out last night, but I prevented it. I saved his life. But as me, oh, you... I looked out the window at Jerry, who by this time was sitting in the Humvee's driver's seat with the door open, looking in at us and giving us the thumbs up sign. Look how happy we've made him, Aiden said. He was convinced that there was nothing left to live for less than 24 hours ago, and now he's tickled to death with this delightful turn of events. I leaned in closer to Aiden and whispered, Delightful? You're going to try to convince him to sell his soul for a damn vehicle, Aiden. There's nothing remarkable or delightful about that. It's pathetic. Not just a vehicle, Aiden said. There will be a lot more to it than that. I go all out for my people. You've seen firsthand what I can do. Oh, you got that right. No way am I going to be part of this. No way in hell. How am I going to explain that to Jerry? You're his hero right now. He's in that Humvee salivating at the sight of all those in-dash gadgets. He thinks you're his savior. How often in life do you get a chance to change somebody's life this way? You mean get them to trade their soul for a bunch of useless crap? Not very often, thank God. Aiden sighed. All right, it's up to you. We'll just have our pizza and you can be on your way. I won't bother you again. It's not that I don't want you to come see me, Aiden. It's just you cannot go around impersonating me and thinking I'm going to be okay with it. There was no reason for you to do that. You could have just as easily gone there as yourself, and you know that as well as I do. The server brought our pizza and left without speaking. Jerry responds better to women, Aiden said, and he placed a slice of pizza on my plate. I was about to go into his apartment, and I changed my mind about my appearance at the last minute. You have a very kind, understanding demeanor when you allow yourself to. I knew you could help him, and at the time, it seemed like a good idea. I thought back to the events of that morning. And then you came and found me at the air show, took me up in a plane, and thought you dazzled me to the point that I'd do whatever you wanted. Real nice. No, that was just my way of saying hello, Liddy. Really, I thought you'd get a kick out of it. I'm sorry. I made a mistake. I picked up my pizza and then set it back down. You don't make mistakes. That's one thing I know for sure about you. Everything you do is carefully planned. Yeah, you try to pass yourself off as this humble, mild-mannered guy, but it's all an act to make people trust you and go along with your plans. It's just a sales gimmick, but it won't work on me. So go ahead and play your stupid games with this Jerry guy, but leave me out of it. I don't care. How do you explain my absence? Tell him I'm sick. At least that part will be true because I'm sick of the way you screw with people. I don't care whether it's your job or not. It's cruel and disgusting and nobody... Jerry came back in, flushed and out of breath. It's awesome, he said. I'm glad you like it, Aiden said. And look, our pizza's ready. Let's eat. I'm too excited to eat. Look at that thing. You have got to tell me how you did that. I am dying to know. That sounds about right, I thought as I chewed on a pepperoni. We can talk about it later, Aiden said. Try the pizza. I heard it's really good. How is it, Liddy? I just nodded and kept my head down. What are we doing after we get done here? Jerry asked. What's going to happen next? We were talking earlier about your dreams, Aiden said. Why don't you tell me some more about that? Jerry had a mouthful, and it took him a minute of vaguely gross chewing and swallowing before he could answer. He's one of those people that breathe loudly like it's a chore. I wanted to run away. This is going to sound really stupid, he finally said, but I've always wanted to run a nightclub. A gentleman's club, like Christie's Cabaret. As the owner or just the manager? Aiden asked him. Maybe both. I think I'd want to own it, but I don't want to have to be there all the time, so I guess I'd need somebody to keep an eye on things when I was out, partying someplace else. Aiden smiled. Or counting stacks of cash in your penthouse? Exactly. I don't want just a gentleman's club. I want a successful gentleman's club. Nobody calls them that in real life, I said. Call it a strip joint or a titty bar. The only time you hear them referred to as gentlemen's clubs is when they advertise them on the radio. Aiden gave me a cold stare like a punch in the gut. Don't be so vulgar, he said. It's Jerry's dream. He can call them whatever he likes. You look like the type that'd criticize a gentleman's club, he sniffed. And you look like the type that'd go to one because it's the only place you could ever get a woman to... All right, Aiden said. That's enough. Let's just have a nice meal, leave all the vitriol out of it. We ate in silence for a while. Aiden glanced at me several times, but I was sulking. It almost made me nostalgic for the days I spent with a pedophile preacher and his jerky little sidekick. After the pizza was gone and we had several glasses of tea, Aiden leaned back in his chair and let out a contented sigh. Do you know what'd be great right now? If we all took a stroll around downtown. I'd rather take the Humvee out for a spin, Jerry said, wiping his mouth on his sleeve. There'll be time for that later. Come on, let's go for a walk. Liddy, what do you say? I was digging in my pocket for some money. No thanks. I believe I'll just pay my share and head home if it's all the same to you. Aiden waved his hand at my money. Put that away. It's on me. I'd really love it if you came with us. Thank you, I said firmly, but no. Jerry, why don't you run out to the Humvee and see what you can find in the back seat? I believe there might be a couple of surprises in there for you. Really? Jerry said. You mean go look now? Aiden chuckled. Yes, now. Go ahead. Jerry trotted out, leaving Aiden and me alone. Just let me go, I said. I'm not happy with you right now, and I have no desire to go wandering around all over downtown Greensboro with you and that jackass. Liddy, do you remember the last night you spent in Dalton Fisher? All of your belongings were packed in that truck, and we stood outside together saying goodbye. You looked at me and you said, "Oh, Scarecrow, I'll miss you most of all." Remember how you felt at that moment? You were pretty sure that you would never see me again, and I can't help thinking you were as sad to see it all end as I was. I'm not asking you to doom yourself to hell, Liddy. All I'm asking you to do right now is take a little walk with me. Give me one last memory to make me smile while I'm here. That's all. Please, Liddy, after everything we've been through, please. I wanted to tell him I hated him for being a manipulative jerk, but the words never came out. All right, I said. Dang it, I'll go. But I'm not going to help. Of course not. I would never ask you to. This is my project, not yours. But if you won't go along for the ride, at least I can enjoy having you with me for a little while longer. He reached over and hugged me. Thank you, he whispered in my ear. You don't make many friends in my line of work. I've missed you so much these past few years. Jerry had come back inside holding 2 pictures in frames. What are these for? He asked. We'll discuss that, Aiden said, and he took my hand. Let's get out of here. All of us. Chapter 5. Jerry eagerly squeezed himself between Aiden and Liddy as they made their way down Elm Street together. He held the pictures up. I've got a picture of some old building. Is that here in town? It looks familiar. And then, where did you get this other one? Aiden touched the silver frame. That's a really pretty lady. It's Amber, Jerry said, blushing. Where'd you get this? Did you steal it or something? Aiden laughed. Hardly. Do you know her? Oh, yeah, she lives in my apartment building. I've never really gotten up the nerve to talk to her, though. She keeps calling me Jimmy. Liddy walked along in silence. She only glanced at the picture. What do you think? Aiden asked her. She could be a model, huh? I guess, Liddy said. Why don't you answer Jerry's questions, Aiden? Why do we have a picture of this old building? And where'd you get this one of this Amber person? I've been thinking about what Jerry said about the Gentlemen's Club, Aiden said. This picture of that old building. Do you know where that is, Jerry? Jerry looked at the picture again. It looks familiar, like I've seen it before. Is it on Lee Street? It is. If you can look beyond the overgrown shrubbery and the peeling paint, it's really very beautiful. Now, imagine it after a fairly extensive overhaul. It'd make a nice home for your club, don't you think? Jerry stared at the picture as they walked. I guess so, but a renovation like that could easily be several $100,000. He laughed. Nice thought, though. Aiden smiled at him. And what about this other picture? Liddy asked. That could be Jerry's new girlfriend. Jerry stopped. Aiden and Liddy stopped and turned around to look at him. My what? Jerry said, leaning on a Rhinoceros Times newspaper stand. She doesn't even know I exist. How can you say that? Maybe she doesn't know you exist now, but who knows what tomorrow might bring. Opportunities abound. Jerry gave Aiden a sideways glance and smirked. Yeah, sure, in my dreams. In your dreams, Aiden said. Exactly. Maybe also in your future if you decide to stick around. If this is all some elaborate intervention to keep me from... Oh no, Aiden said. That'd be pretty impressive in and of itself if it were, but it's not. It's something much more rewarding than that. Rewarding? Liddy sputtered. Honestly, Aiden, you're worse than a recruiter for the military. You should get... Now, Liddy, Aiden said. Let's not go all into that right now. Jerry started to say something, but he closed his mouth and took a deep breath when Aiden touched his arm. I think we should head towards Center City Park, sit by the big fountain for a bit. That sounds great, Jerry said, looking very content, almost sedated. They sat on a bench in the park and watched the water dance in silvery arches, the sun winking in gold as the columns of water broke apart and splashed back down. Quite a few people milled about, enjoying a nice late summer evening. "How'd you end up at Shelton Apartments?" Aiden asked Jerry. "You've been there, 5 years now?" Jerry sucked on the bottom of his snow cone. "I don't know. I needed a place to stay, and they had an empty apartment. That's about it. I just moved in and never went anywhere else. Kind of sums up my whole life." "So you went straight from your parents' house to there?" "Yep." "Wow. You never thought about, I don't know, going someplace better?" "Well, yeah, but with what? You can't get much else just working at Best Buy." "What if you could?" "Did you not hear me? You can't. I'm not talking about your average guy on the street, Jerry. I'm talking about you. Say money was no problem anymore. Would you stay there?" "No, probably not, but it's not like I've had much of a choice." Aiden laughed. "Maybe not in the past, but now everything can change. If you want to. If you want it to, that is." Jerry slid over closer. "What do you mean?" "Look up there at that beautiful building. Did you see it before they renovated it?" Jerry looked across the street at the marble and glass building, 15 stories high. It sat empty for years," he said. "I figured they'd eventually just tear it down. I think it had asbestos in it or something weird. They couldn't use it the way it was." "Sort of like your old life, huh? Vacant, alone, maybe even obsolete. But look at it now, Jerry. They gutted it down to its steel frame and rebuilt it from the inside out. Its old ugliness is completely gone, not a trace of it left." "I can do the same for you if you let me." Liddy forgot about her bad mood for a moment. "The real estate agent that I worked with to buy my house, I remember us driving through here one day when they were still working on that building. They had this one elevator that was basically bolted onto the side, so if you rode on it, it was like you were almost completely separated from the building. My real estate guy said no commission was worth going up in that thing to show a condo to anybody." I bet he'd do it now," Aiden said. "A 2-bedroom apartment in that building goes for $250,000. Jerry squinted at the building. "Who's got the money for something like that? God." "Well, you're close," Liddy chuckled. Aiden turned Jerry's face back to his own. "What if you did?" "Me? Yeah, that'd be nice, but it'll never happen on what I make." "What if your salary didn't matter anymore? What if the cost of anything didn't matter anymore?" Jerry stood up, holding his half-eaten snow cone. "What are you getting at, Aiden? I'm sick of the questions. What is this all about?" Aiden took the sticky snow cone from him and tossed it in the trash. "Have you ever been in that building?" "No, and it doesn't—" "Want to go take a look?" Liddy rolled her eyes. "I can't take much more of this," she said. "He's inviting you to go up there. Let's go." They crossed Elm Street and stopped at one of the building's set of double doors. "There's a bank and a restaurant on the ground floor," Aiden said. "Most of the other 14 floors are apartments." He held the door open for Liddy and Jerry to go inside and then followed them in. "Now, the very top floor is a bit different," he said, pressing the button for the elevator. "Let's go check it out." "I heard about that," Liddy said as the elevator doors opened and they stepped inside. "The guy that financed all this work saved that to be like one gigantic apartment. I don't know if anybody lives in it." Aiden fished a key out of his pocket and inserted it in a lock on the elevator keypad. He then pressed the button for the 15th floor. "I guess we'll find out in a minute." They watched the numbers tick up in silence, and the elevator glided to a stop on 15. The doors opened to a spacious marble foyer. They stepped out and stood there, Liddy and Jerry waiting for Aiden to make a move. "This marble was imported from Italy," Aiden said, pressing the elevator key into Jerry's hand. "Just hang on to that for me, will you? I don't want to lose it. Follow me." The three of them made their way from the foyer into the grand living room with white carpet and furniture. Liddy gasped. "My God, it looks like something out of one of those snobby Ethan Allen commercials," she said. "I feel like I ought to take my shoes off." She gazed in awe at the television and entertainment center built into the wall. Jerry stood beside Aiden and looked all around. Who lives here? He finally asked. Obviously somebody does. Not yet, Aiden said, but perhaps soon. He winked at Jerry. You two go ahead and check out the rest of the apartment. I believe I'll stay here and enjoy this beautiful view of your city. Jerry and Liddy split up, with Jerry heading toward the kitchen and Liddy the master bedroom. This is disgusting, Liddy muttered to herself when she saw what she believed were Jerry's initials monogrammed on the pillowcases. I know this is his job, but is that a Roomba? Dear God, he's thought of everything. Jerry found her and came running into the room. That kitchen, it's exactly what I've always wanted. Not to sound gay or anything, because I'm not. No, of course not. I have this picture out of a magazine at home, and I swear, everything in that picture. Just come look. He dragged her down the hall. I believe you, she said, trying to pry his fingers off her arm. No, you need to see it. They bounded into the kitchen. Liddy took note of the stone floors, the endless granite countertops, the skylights. Yes, nice. Nice? Please. I bet this smokes whatever you've got at your house. Look at how the... Jerry, stop. Think about all this for a minute. Why do you think we're up here? He ran his hand across the seat of one of the teak bar stools. I don't know, and honestly, I don't care right now. I've never been anywhere this nice in my whole life. If you could see that picture back at my apartment, it's like they took it right here in this room. It is an exact duplicate. Yeah, and doesn't that strike you as a bit odd? No more than the trick with the car. He looked around and then whispered, Can't you see what's happening? Oh, I see it all right. Aiden is my guardian angel. I don't know why or how yet, but for some reason, somebody up there's been paying attention to me, and they've sent somebody down here to save me. He looked up through one of the skylights. I've been praying for this for months. Give me a reason to live. It was that simple. He looked back at Liddy. Just give me a reason to keep going. I never thought it would actually happen, but here we are. Don't you think this is all too good to be true? Yeah, I've heard of angels saving people from burning buildings or whatever, but setting them up in a penthouse? Come on. Jerry's smile faded for a moment, and he was about to speak when Aiden entered the room. I'm especially fond of this kitchen, Aiden said. What do you think of it, Jerry? Could you stand to live in a place with a kitchen like this? Could I stand it? Are you kidding? The apartment is over 5,000 square feet. It has 5 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms. Right now, it's on the market for $2.5 million. Jerry let out a long, slow whistle. I can't even begin to imagine what it would be like. He stopped and he glanced at Liddy, checking her reaction. She stood there, arms drooping down with a sad look on her face. A mix of pity and mild contempt, but Jerry just read it as envy. How big is your place? He asked her. My place? I don't know. Maybe 1,200 square feet? He snickered. Wow, sounds nice. Liddy turned to Aiden. Are we about done here? Almost. Jerry, why don't you go check out the pool room? There's a pool room? Really? Like with a pool table? Yep, and a bar. Go through that door, past the master bedroom, and take a right. Jerry darted out of the room. Come take a look at these faucets, Aiden said to Liddy. They're amazing. They have these detachable... Just stop, Liddy said. You don't need to sell me on the apartment. Yes, it's really nice, just like I knew it would be. I don't care about the stupid faucets or the monogram pillowcases or the damn pool room. What you're doing to this guy is unfair. He's suicidal, Aiden. How can you justify manipulating somebody in his frame of mind? He was suicidal. That was last night. This is a whole new day. Do you know what he thinks? He thinks you're his guardian angel sent down here by God to save him. Surely there's a rule or something saying you can't let him go around believing that. Almost all of them believe that at first, and you're right that I can't allow him to labor under that misconception indefinitely. I'm not required to correct it right away, though, and I usually don't. It's disgusting. Maybe I was in denial for a long time when we first met, like I refused to see you for what you really are, but now I can't get past it. You don't bring anything to people but pain. You lie to them, dangle a shiny object in front of their faces, and then you ruin their lives forever. I ruined their lives? Is that what you really think? How is Jerry's life any different now that he knows me? Exactly what have I ruined? All I did was stop him from killing himself. Where do you think he'd be now if I hadn't done that? Liddy looked down and scuffed her shoe on the floor. She didn't answer. Aiden stood facing her for a moment in silence and then said, "Things aren't as black and white as you like to believe. I shouldn't tell you this, but most of the people I approach probably wouldn't have made it into heaven anyway. Well, not all the way to heaven. Look, I know my tricks won't work with you, but they do work. I have a job to do, Liddy. You may not like the fact that the lion out in the African savannah eats baby gazelles, but it's part of life. We all have things we have to do, whether they appeal to you or not. I made a choice a long time ago, and while you may not understand the choice I made, the fact that I made it means that I'm required to do the very thing that I'm doing right now. You can hate it and hate me, but this is what I have to do." Liddy looked up at him. "Do you regret it? The choice you made?" He smiled a sad smile. "No, not one bit." "And what about the people? Do you ever feel bad about tricking them into all this?" "Now that, no, I do not. Each person is completely aware of what's going on before we ever reach that point. They make that decision entirely on their own, and they do it as a fully informed individual. They have the freedom to commit themselves to it or just walk away." "And how many of them walk away?" "Almost none. You'd lose a lot of faith in the human race if you followed me around for a couple centuries." "You're going to make that pitch to Jerry tonight, aren't you?" Liddy asked him. "I have to, and I'm running out of time." He glanced at his watch. Cinderella's magical night comes to an end just before midnight, and I have a lot to do. We need to get going. I want to take him on a walk downtown, and I'd like you to come along, but don't worry. I won't get into anything serious with him while you're around. There'll come a point when I'll tell you it's time for you to go, and when I do that, I want you to leave immediately. No matter what's going on at that time, I want you to go back to your car and head straight home." "That sounds a little scary to me, Aiden." "Really?" No, it's not. I don't mean it to be. We work together really well in Dalton Fisher." "We're not working together," Liddy said, "remember?" "Right, we're not. I only mean I could give you specific instructions and you'd follow them without freaking out. Do you think you can do that again?" "So you want me to leave when you tell me to? You are going to tell me, right? Not just give me some subtle signal that I'm supposed to pick up on?" "I will literally tell you." Liddy took a breath. "Let's get out of here." And I think we're going to stop there. The end of chapter 5. So we will come back on chapter 6 in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great day, and I'll see you again soon.